All right, so a while back, I had this guy in the comment section trying to go back and forth with me about the reasoning for a lot of the cheesy tactics that 2K used to cheat. You know, the reason generally why they're cheating in the first place. And he's trying to make the case that they're doing it for VC, right? To make money, to get you to purchase more VC and all like that. But he doesn't really understand the flaw in that logic, right? Um, these people they're having a difficult time actually programming computers core AI to be intelligent and thorough enough to actually simulate a realistic feeling competition. Either they're too lazy or they just really don't know how, right? To make computer more seem realistically competitive, the way that it would feel if you're playing an actual person, how they have the ability to make certain decisions that the AI really won't, and you could just drag computers AI all day. That is the reason why, they're trying to basically feel compensate for where a computer is lacking by scripting the game to cheat for the computer, right? Now check this out right here. I go into a post up and I made many videos about this, the post, and how they've deliberately programmed the post to basically in certain moments to basically tease you out of an opportunity to score, because you could dominate out of the post, especially if you have a truly dominant post player. You could just dominate in the post all day. Now, usually what they'll do when the double team come, when I try to pass the ball, they'll lock me into an animation that won't allow me to pass it, or they'll force me to do something like they might force me to do a spin and go between the two players and lose the ball, or they might force me to fall forward this way or stumble and just throw the ball away somehow. Maybe I can retrieve it. Usually I can retrieve it, but oftentimes you cannot retrieve it, right? And that's usually what they'll make you do. So like in a scenario like this, let's say if I'm pumping the button to pass it, right, and the double team is not there yet, I'm still not being allowed to pass it because the algorithm had already figured out I'm not gonna, I'm gonna get a turnover or I'm gonna collapse and drop the ball somehow. But in other scenarios like this one right here, what they'll do is if you have a man that's wide open because they're double teaming you, they will force him to run off his block and run towards defense, right? And in this situation, that's exactly what occurred. My man, he just takes off running before I even, press the button to pass, right? He just takes off running, and it would be fine, right, if once he took off running, he'd have just kept going to the basket. But we all know how 2K does a lot of times in situations like this, where your man, he has a clear look at the basket off a pass where he's running, and it should just be a free flowing situation. Catch it, keep going to the basket, easy layup. But that's the reason why they're forcing him to stop right here, right? So he's forced to stop, and as you can see, I'm still moving forward because my man, he goes for a step through, or a stepping forward jump shot, which basically means that with the joystick, I was trying to move towards the basket and get a layup or a dunk, right? But he's forced to, instead of well, basically since the game forced me to stop early, it turns into a jump shot that's stepping forward or leaning forward, right? And these are the various different ways that they play you out of different opportunities to get an easy bucket, where you would have an easy bucket, right? They shave a lot of points off of you every single game by doing things like this right here. Shit, these little points 2 or 3 times a quarter where you have an easy bucket and something happens where it's like the game malfunctions, which it really isn't malfunctioning, it's programmed to cheat you, right? But when you add that up all throughout the game, it helps computers stay close, because they might be saving 35, 40 points off of you, 50 plus points off of you every single game, and adding on 25 to 30 points for a computer every game just based up on the script, right? When you calculate all of the different situations where it's scripting certain scenarios that go a certain way, that is the difference that, you know, is being accounted for. So a lot of games where you may be winning, where you may win by 25, 30, 35 points, you probably really should have won by like 80. And I'm not exaggerating at all. 100 plus. I'm not exaggerating at all. I beat computer by 80, 70, 100 plus many times. And even in those games, the narrative, you know, there's a lot of scripting going on, playing me out of points and things of that nature. But that is the purpose for the script, is so that the game feels more competitive. It feels more fleshed out. It feels like you're not just walking through the computer all day. So they have to, or they feel the necessity to have to script events, force outcomes, force narrative, predetermined situations. Simple as that, right? It's not about VC, right? Because the thing is, I'm playing my league and it's scripted like hell. I don't need VC to play my league. I could just go and turn the stats up all I want. I could just go fix the sliders if I want to. I could do whatever I want, especially in my league. So that, you know, it has no purpose there. The VC has no purpose right here. The only purpose for what they're doing is to try to add some sort of false competitive environment. All right, that's the whole purpose of it. But anyway, peace.